Yeah, exactly. Yep, I totally get it. That's been my whole goal, is to make it completely dummy proof, where it's nearly impossible to fuck it up unless you just like you have a mental condition like me that I'm dealing with, where I'll just do shit over and over and over again until I just can't, like, I can't stand the fact that it's. And the thing is the indicator is right. It's really gonna come down. Yeah, the golden showers. Like, that's a new man. That's like, I feel like that's gonna be my final. Like, if I can conquer that the way I conquered FOMO, the way I conquered bias. And listen, I haven't completely conquered revenge trading, but I'm pretty damn close. Once I handle the golden ticket, I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be able to average more wins than losses, or at least control my losses with the break even. And really, there's going to be a whole, like, once I get the explanation down, it's going to get really in depth on managing ATM, managing revenge trading, bias, FOMO, all those things. I'm going to have a lot of content on for new people. Yeah, it's hard though, dude. Dude, LordTitty, man, it's hard, man. I love jacking the, dude. I love jacking it full of contracts, man. It's like my thing. Yeah. Don't take that away, dude. Don't take away my extra contracts, LordTitty. Come on, man. Well, it is, because the idea was, this is the idea. Now, it's an idea. So just, take it with that. This was the idea. So let's draw out a short trade right now. So this is the trade management idea that's been working well until this is like, using this trade management idea has made me find the golden ticket, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because of this trading strategy, the golden ticket's a fucking problem, if that makes sense. So let's say this is my entry. Let's say, like, right now I'm in a sim trade. So I'm sim mode. So the first, all right, so I'm going to sit here for the short. This is a sim trade, everybody who's watching, sim trade only. Because I don't have the stochastics on my side. This is not a real trade. I'm just trying to show LordTitty what I'm talking about. So let's say we get picked up here. What's our first line of resistance? The edge of the cloud. The edge of the cloud is always the first line of resistance. So I'm going to set my first target to here, above it. So if I get collected and I confirm and I start going down, I can add contracts. When I add contracts, it adds them all to this target. And it leaves one down. There, I'm in. Oh, who's, hey, who followed? Venezuela Hitman. It's the Hitman. What's up? All right, I'll talk to you in a minute, dude. I'm kind of going over some strategies. So this is the strategy. So this is where my first target's going to be. Once I get confirmation, I'm going to add into this target. Watch. So once we get back up here, I'm going to add two more.
Starting to see, and getting the global south on board as well, at a time when some of Donald Trump's closest allies, in theory, are still working.
All right, I'm adding. So I just added two more. And you see the two more went to the first target. You see? The two more went to the first target. So when we come down and collect the target at the first line of resistance, I'm down to one contract. So let's see if we can do it. But probably not, because stochastics are not on my side. So let's see if we just get lucky.
With Volodymyr Zelensky on Thursday. And we'll have a live report coming up from the White House on this.
A fascinating time, I believe.
Well, the confirmation would be you don't add until you get the confirmation candle. You know what I'm saying? And then you pull in your stop behind it.
Let's get to the markets and the Wednesday trade right now.
Yeah, well, I just added at my entry. See, now you would add here. So now, if you're being a delinquent, you add here. Now they're all coming off on the first target. Now you take now you grab your stop and you move it to break even when you got green,
It goes to interactive
right?
media and services.
But
And
you
at
should
the
have the
top, the news
stochastics going your way, and this should be an
shares
easy
are up
trade.
more than 8%. That was after the judge ruled that Google can keep control
I'm
of
adding
Apple's
too early
lawsuit
is my
partnership
problem.
with
I'm
Apple,
adding too
but
early.
has to share
It's
some
I
research
just
data
I'm
with
adding too
rivals.
early.
Apple shares, they're up about 3%.
I'm just
Over to the Nasdaq,
adding
it's
too
up
fucking
0.9%,
early
190
is my
points.
problem,
The
and
S&P
it's killing
500
me
rising
because I can't.
0.2%.
It's like I got to
15
figure out a
points
way to
down,
make myself
down
stop or
0.2%,
set the
or
strategy up to
222
remind me not to
points.
do
The
it.
sell-off in government debt lost some momentum.
Yes,
The
it's
yield on 30-year
yes, it's the
Treasuries
same
close to
thing.
5% before
It's
racing
that
back again. So
talk we
start with
had
the 30-year
is
at
I'm still
4.89%,
doing it. It's like
down
I
7
can't
basis points. The
recognize,
yield on the 10-year,
like it's like I can't make
4.21%,
myself
that's
fucking
down
wait.
5 basis points. And the 2-year, 3.60%, that's down 3 basis points. The Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index, that's down about 0.2%. We'll take you to earnings now, and starting with Macy's, their shares
You see, I in
nearly
too early.
17%.
Well, I didn't necessarily get in too early. I added too
Best
early.
comparable sales growth in 3 years.
Yes, I
CEO
know,
said the
I
company's
know.
back to school
I
season
gotta
has
find a
off
way to
to
get
a
over
good
that.
start.
I get
Let's turn to
hypnotized by the
Dollar Tree.
candles,
Their
dude.
shares are lower, down about
I totally
8%.
I totally
Discount
get
trades said profit for
hypnotized.
the current quarter would be little change, but that kind of
It's
overshadowed
like
the news that the company
watching a
actually
little one of
boosted
those little
its
dancing,
annual
like the
outlook.
Hawaiian
And an
dancing
earnings beat
dolls
for
you put on your
Campbell's. Shares are
dashboard.
up
That's what it's
5%.
like for
For
me.
on-demand news 24 hours a day,
So now I
subscribe to
got to move
Bloomberg
my
News
stop
now. I'm
up.
Lisa Mateo.
I got to move it up
This
above
is
the
your
50.
Bloomberg Business Update.
I just got all right.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Live
So
from
I
our
mean that
headquarters
wasn't
in
a
New York.
trade
We'll get
anyway.
back with Lisa in about
Yeah,
20
that's
minutes.
exactly what it is,
On Wall
dude.
Street and the bond market
It's
with
like I gotta
tariffs
figure out a
in the
way to
air
like
and foreign
to
policy.
like
Joe
put that
Matthew
to the
alongside
side.
Preeti Gupta in Washington.
All right, so
Thanks for being with
so
us
now
here
we're
on
in a
Balance of
long.
Power on Bloomberg
So
TV
now
and radio. President Trump
now we're in a
holding forth
long.
on a
We're gonna
range of
front run
issues
the long,
alongside the
okay?
president of
And
Poland,
we're gonna
who is
front
visiting
run it
the
right
White House
here.
today to talk about any number
Order
of issues
submitted.
pertaining to our
So we're gonna
relationship
front run the
militarily.
long
We
right
had a
here.
series of flybys
Now this is not a real trade
upon
again,
the
guys.
arrival
I'm
of
just
the
trying to
president.
show
Of
Lord
course, his
Titty
strategy with regard to
in sim mode
NATO
what I'm
that we're
talking about.
I will be
See,
clear,
look at all this
President Trump
space
was
we
asked
have.
when
We got all
reporters
this
were
space to
given a
run
chance to
all the
raise
way
some
up here.
questions,
So where's
asked
our
about a
first
range
stop
of
gonna
issues,
be?
from Jeffrey
Our first stop
Epstein
is
to
gonna be
tariffs to crime here in
Order
Washington
filled.
there. We're
and
in.
other cities. And we want to get an update right now first from Bloomberg's Washington
Okay.
correspondent Tyler Kendall
So we're
on
in
the
right
North Lawn
here.
of the White House. Tyler?
You know what? We're gonna take the first stop out right at the 50 because that's the first line of resistance.
Behind closed doors in the
Okay.
cabinet room, and while President Trump hit on a range
Our
of
second
issues
stop
speaking to reporters, it is clear that the war in Ukraine
is
going
gonna
to
be
factor
way the fuck up
heavily
here
into the conversation today. We even heard President
before the
Trump
double
suggest that we
top
could see
and before we
around
get to the
2
fair
or
value
3
gap.
of so-called secondary
And that should be
tariffs
comfortable.
against our trading partners that import
So let's
Russian
spread this out and
energy.
take a look.
It comes after the Ukrainian President Zelensky had
Okay, so
suggested
where do I
that
add
he will
here?
speak with
Let's talk
President
about
Trump
where do I add to
tomorrow.
get
You
to the
mentioned
first
headline
target.
at the top of the show there, and our understanding is he's going to push the
Oh wait,
U.S.
what's going
for
on?
further economic
I didn't move my target.
consequences to hold Russia accountable. Now, the president did
So
highlight
this is
the
the
one
first
instance
target
that we
right
have
on the
seen of these
50.
so-called secondary tariffs, that additional 25%
This is my second target.
against India. The
Right,
president
right
said
out here.
that India is importing almost as much Russian
So
oil
now
as
I
China
want to
is.
add.
Of course, China is not facing
Order
that
filled.
additional penalty, as the White House
Order
says that
filled.
those
All right,
trade
I'm going to get it.
negotiations are on a
I
totally
got 5
separate
on it.
track when it comes to
Got
Beijing.
5
No doubt that our
on
analysts
it.
at Bloomberg Economics say that China imports about 47% of Russian crude exports, while India takes about 37%.
What's it?
Of
All right,
those
hold on.
Russian crude exports. So a
I
little
want to
bit
watch
of a
this.
difference
See if.
there. Of course, it comes
See, I want to get out. I want
We've
these
been covering,
contracts off.
basically a week
My
on
biggest goal is
balance
to
of
get
power
these
issues
off so I
that
don't get my
Target
face ripped
filled.
off.
Mr. Russian President
Okay,
Vladimir
so
Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping
so those
on
contracts are
in
off.
China the other day.
Now
President
we
Trump
got to
did
wait for
confirm
confirmation
that he
above
was
this
locked
trend
into
line
that
in
deal.
order
When
to
it
add
comes
contracts
the
to
war
go
in
to the
Ukraine,
next
of course, one
zone.
of the biggest questions still on the table really does have to do with those
I have a
security
way
guarantees.
for
And
you to
perhaps that's why
add.
we're
Can you
seeing
hop
this
on
warm
Discord?
relationship between the two leaders meeting today, because the White
Yeah,
House
I
has
can do that.
applauded
Well, shit, I
repeatedly
still got
how
leads going.
Poland
Hold
has
on, give
really
me a
upped
second.
its defense spending when it
There
comes
we
to
go.
contributing
So now
to
this
all
is
the
the
NATO
this is
defense
the
spending
trick
allies.
candle. This is the
Well, Tyler, it
trick.
feels like in that press conference that the two leaders
Okay.
actually had, the
Now I got to move my
European
trail
freeloading came up once
below
or
the
twice. Talk to us
200.
a little bit about the sentiment at the White House
So
at
this
the
is
moment
the
when it
trick
comes
candle.
to,
We're waiting for the
in
next
theory,
candle.
what should be the United States' closest allies in Europe.
All right, hold
Right,
on.
and I actually think
Let me
Bree, you're
fire
hitting
up
on one of of the domestic political dynamics that we're actually seeing play out in Poland when it comes to the Polish president compared to perhaps
I get
the
a lead,
more
I'll have to
pro-European
hop off.
Union Prime Minister of Poland, Donald Tusk. And actually, we had some pretty incredible reporting earlier today that a Polish official told Bloomberg News that there's concern that a deepening sense of legislative chaos due to this rift could actually hurt investment in Poland. So it's clear that Poland, as of today, this meeting is going to be used as a way to try to show that Poland has the U.S.'s support, potentially here when it comes to growth prospects for Poland going forward. But we know that the U.S.'s relationship has sort of been a tricky needle for this White House to thread, particularly when it comes to those tariff negotiations. Now, the European Union was able to secure that more preferential rate of 15%,
I figured, I didn't figure it out, but I think a good way for you to
back
add
and forth tensions. At one point, we didn't even think that a deal was going to be able to be secured, which is the last headline that I'll leave you with. President Trump sounded pretty confident that this tariff appeals case,
right now this candle is obviously
case is headed to
so
the
this
Supreme
candle one
Court,
needs to
saying that
close
he's watching it
up
closely
here.
and he's confident that they'll come out on top.
And
Tyler, are we done?
what
We
you,
had a
I think what
pretty
you would
good
want to
exchange
see
there in
is
the
the
Oval
next
Office. They have
candle
no other public
to
events. If they strike a deal on
red,
anything regarding Ukraine or beyond,
kind of like the candle at 1307.
Well, at this point, there is
The one
nothing that
before
is publicly
1307,
on
the
the
red
White
one.
House
Yep.
schedule.
That's
Just
like a
this
liquidation.
meeting, this working lunch in
So
the
the one right
cabinet
there
room as of
that
now
comes
is
down
closed to reporters.
closes
But of course, we're going
red.
to be watching closely. Often when the foreign
And
leader
then
leaves,
you
he
don't
could
add
be given the
because
chance
it pulled
to
down.
come to the stick
add
microphones
when
here
the
at the
next
White House
candle,
that are stationed right outside
when it starts to
of the
burn,
West Wing. But at this point,
goes
we're really
up
just watching for
and
those
takes
developments,
out
particularly
the
as we
high
try
of
to
the
glean
body
some
or
more
high of the
details
wick,
on what
depending on
these
like
agenda items
how
for the
far the
rest of
wick
the
is
week
away and
will
how
look
far
like,
the body
including
is.
President
You know
Trump
what I mean?
meeting with
Yeah.
Zelensky, as well as him
And
confirming
you
that he has plans
only
to talk with
take,
Russian President
you only
Vladimir
add
Putin
when
in the
the
coming
next
weeks.
candles
Great. Tyler, thank you so much.
is
Live
the
from the White
opposite
House,
color of the red
Bloomberg's
candle.
Washington correspondent Tyler Kendall. Indeed,
And then
Vladimir
you
Putin
basically
is
move the stop
on
to
President
that red
Trump's
candle,
mind.
right? Because obviously, if
Having
you add
seen the
contracts, you're
images
going to
of
increase your
Putin
risk.
alongside
You have to
President
figure
Xi
out how to
and Kim
minimize the risk
Jong-un,
because you can't just leave
Donald Trump was asked
your
about
original
Vladimir
stop
Putin
loss
and the war in Ukraine
with
at the beginning
3
of
more
this Q&A.
contracts,
Here's
right?
what he
Like,
said.
now your risk is like,
It's
I have no
insane.
you know, if it was
message
200
to
volt, it's probably
President
like
Putin.
800,
He
right?
knows where
So
I
that's just
stand.
insane.
Yeah,
He'll
that's
do
what
it
I've
one
been
way or
doing.
the
Your
other,
stop.
whatever his
So what you could
decision
do is you could
is, we'll
enter
either be happy about it
only
or
if
unhappy. And if we're unhappy
third
about
bar,
it, you'll
third
see
candle
things happen.
takes out the previous colored
Let's
bar,
bring in Jane Harmon
and then you move your
on this
stop to
conversation, chair of the National Defense Strategy Commission, former ranking member of the House
that red bar.
Intelligence
That makes
Committee.
sense?
Jane, it's
Yeah,
great to have you
so
back on
we-
Bloomberg
we-
Because
TV
that's the
Radio.
only
We've
way.
been talking
That's
about
one
this
way
on
you
the
can make it
regular since
mechanical,
Russia
so you're not
invaded
just
Ukraine. Will
entering
Donald
because
Trump
you
end
see
up
a giant
being
ribbon.
disappointed?
Yeah,
in
that's
Vladimir Putin?
exactly how I've designed this whole thing to be
I
more
have no
technical
idea
and
whether he would be
mechanical so you could
disappointed,
make
but
a
he's been
logical
on both sides
decision
of
based off
this
that
issue
and
for
not
months,
how you
and
feel.
it's time for him to pick a side.
Because I'll
And the
jump
right
in on
side
what I
is
think
to
I
stand
see.
with Europe. I'm very
Like
glad
it's a
he's
Because you
crap
would have
scheme.
jumped in. You would have
and
jumped in on
to
that green candle.
let
when it
Lindsey
went up,
Graham
Fucking
and
right.
then it
Yep.
obviously came back
the
down, and you would have been.
Graham-Blumenauer bill
Now
passed
you
in
would have been
Congress.
in
It's
for like 4
overwhelmingly
contracts.
supported,
Yep.
and it would
Hating life,
impose
right?
secondary
Yep.
But
sanctions
at no
across
point
the
did it
board
confirm
on
that it's going
countries
to stay
that
up
are
there. Now,
dealing
the
in
downside
oil
of the mechanical entry
with
is
Russia.
You're
there's
gonna
a chance
miss.
that it
It's been
just
the right
goes
thing to
without
do
you.
forever.
You're gonna
And Trump is
miss.
not
But
making
I
that
would
decision,
rather
so
Right.
but I
I'm
would
a
rather
little,
be on that side and then add contracts
confused
once we
maybe,
get
but
later.
disappointed
later
that we keep moving
than
the
to
goalposts over
be in
and
a
over and
position
over.
with
And be
One thing I
wrong.
would say
right.
is that
If
stakes
we
get
can
higher.
eliminate now, we should be adding.
It's almost the end of
This is
summer.
the
No,
add.
you still don't have because
Comes,
the candle
a
just
lot of
closed.
what
So
Ukraine
what you
can
want to do
will
now is
not
that candle
work
just closed,
anymore.
right?
Drones,
Yep.
yes.
This candle,
No.
what
Supplies
I
are
would do
running
is
low.
I want to see a turn
US
red first.
government may close,
Yep.
God
Right, I
forbid,
want to see a
at
turn
the
red
end of
come down to
September
break
because
even,
we don't
maybe
have
a little
budget,
bit below
and there
break
is
even
still
down to like your
enormous
V1
ambivalence in
upper line,
Trump's
Yep.
right?
Yep.
base
And then
about what
once
to do
this
about
candle
Ukraine.
can
I'm not
flip
ambivalent.
from
Ukraine
red
is a democratic country
to
invaded
green,
by Russia,
I'll
and
enter,
if
but
we
it
can
has
get
to
to
flip
There it
from
is.
red to
go straight
green.
into
There
Europe,
it
and
is.
we just
No,
saw
not
that
yet,
Poland
but towards the
was
end of your
increasing
time,
military
right? Because you
drills
still have 2 minutes
because
left.
there were
Yeah, that's
air
true.
attacks.
You're
Because
right.
right,
You're
because
right.
right now, if you
Case
enter
very
now,
close to
it could be
Eastern
green.
Poland.
You enter now, and
One
then
more
in the
comment.
last minute, it turns
Poland
red on
has
you. So
taken
you
in
still have
so
to
many
wait till
Ukrainian
you
refugees,
still have
starting
to
at the
wait for it
beginning
to close.
and assimilating them.
Yeah.
I the
Now,
country's
in
been
this
as
particular
generous,
case, it
and
would
we
have worked
really,
out.
really
But
owe a
like,
lot.
But that's yeah. But every third time when I'm wrong is when I fuck the account up. It hurts 10
more than it
times.
helps you.
to
Right.
really targeting who
And at the end of the day,
is
like if you
buying oil
miss
from Russia.
adding
there are still countries
Yeah,
in Europe
it's stuff
that
that
are
you
very
missed
much
adding,
dependent
but
on
like
those exports
you're still
within
up
3 years
X
from the
amount of
war.
dollars.
Could they be
You know what I
on
mean?
that
Yeah,
So
list
well,
it's
of
one of those
that's
things
it.
where
countries
it's just
at the
like
White House
It's
that
the
could
second
face those
target is the
targets?
most dangerous. The
Well, I
first
think it'd be
target
hard to
is
exempt them.
is
I
so
mean, there are
reasonably
oil
placed
resources
in an
available
obvious
elsewhere,
sign
including from the
at an
United
obvious
States.
place of
I mean, we've
support
been
or
talking about this
resistance that I
forever.
usually get it.
Oil and fuel resources.
And then this is
And
where I've been
exactly.
killing
we
it.
have a
So
surplus,
here's the thing. Like,
notwithstanding
I
some of the
would like
rhetoric
if
around,
that pullback
and we
was
could
further, like that
expedite
pullback didn't come
shipping
very
some
far,
of it
right?
to
But if that
Europe.
pullback, let's say,
So
came back
I'm
to
not
Q1,
sympathetic. I
Yep.
think
right?
this war has to end,
And
but it has to
push,
end on Ukraine's terms.
it
One
went
more
from
thing.
red,
I
like
read
it was
that
red coming down
Putin
at Q1,
said he'll meet with
and then
Zelensky
turned
if Zelensky
green.
comes to Russia.
That
That's
red big green
Zelensky's
line
word. Why would he
was
do that?
pretty
Russia is the
significant.
aggressor in violation of international
Then I would
law
have taken that
and
trade,
has been
right?
every
But being
single
that
night killing
that red was
Ukrainian
just very
children
small,
and
this easily
bombing
could have just
schools
turned
and
around
kidnapping
and flushed out.
hundreds of children.
Yes,
Now I
that's
know in
yeah.
this,
I would think
I know,
it
of course,
goes
the
the other
example
way.
we're talking about is
Putin
trips to the moon,
should
but
be coming to
Well, that's just
Ukraine
luck
and asking for
right
something
now.
reasonable.
you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like,
Jane, what did you make of the
because
president's
that
remarks
strategy
about
is
our
a very
troop
popular
presence
one.
in
All it
Poland,
is,
knowing
all
that
that
at
strategy
times
is just a three bar
the president
Yeah.
right?
may
It's,
Yep.
be
it's the
listening
three
to
bar play that
Vladimir
everyone
Putin
talks
on this
about, whether
issue.
it's on the
Russia
1
would
minute,
love
5 minute,
U.S.
15.
troops
Like it's
to be
just,
out of Eastern Europe, and he
but a lot of
said
people will front
he
run
has
the
no
three bar
intention of
play
reducing the number of troops in
because they
Poland.
don't want to
Quote,
wait for the
they've
three bar
always
play.
wanted to have a larger presence. We have
So
some
probably
countries that
play,
have more, not too
probably
many,
trade a
but no,
three
they'll
bar
be
play. You're
staying
supposed
in
to wait
Poland.
until
Is
the
that a
third bar
term
closes. But sometimes when
based
the
on
third
the way
bar
the
closes,
president
it's
has
so
spoken
far away
about
that you're
Vladimir
like,
Putin
I've
over
already
the
missed
past
something.
couple of days?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's
Do you see what I'm saying? So a lot of
that's the
people,
problem I'm
so
having without having it explained to me.
if
You
it
know
were
what
up to
I'm
me,
saying?
darn
Is
right.
so
I'm
if you look at 1300,
Keep
so if you
our
look at
coordinating
1300,
base
you
that,
see that three bar play right there?
provides
yeah. Hold
intel
on. I'm
and
gonna take this
strategy
out.
into
Hold on.
Ukraine.
See,
and
I
Germany
also like
are
doing
target
this.
filled. And V-Spot
Is
is
like
very
once I'm
impressive.
close to the target,
And
I'll just
the
take
US
myself
is
out.
part of NATO.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1300.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at 1300 or 1 o'clock, right?
Yep.
And if
That's
we
a three
don't
bar play,
defend Europe,
right?
I think we
Red,
we,
green
we
bar,
leave ourselves vulnerable.
massive
And
green
we
bar,
again
followed by a
violate
temporary red
fundamental
bar.
values,
And all
which
this
is to
is
uphold,
just profit taking,
to uphold the
Yep.
rule of law.
right?
That's
The
how
red
we
bar,
win against China
all it
and these other
signifies
countries.
is just profit
We
taking.
have values.
Because then
They
the third
don't.
bar
They're
comes,
just
and it's
thugs.
green and
And
takes out the red bar.
I don't want my
So
country to become
I
like
think the way
them.
you're supposed to play a
I
three bar
want my
play
country to be
is you're supposed to
giant
wait for
city
the
on
third
that
bar
hill,
to
which is
close
what Ronald
all the
Reagan
way
said
up
it was.
at like
Jane,
3,
we've been
4:30,
digesting, the world's been
and then you
digesting
enter,
shocking images coming
risking
out of
the
China,
entire three
not
bar
only in
play.
terms of
But
war
like, who's
versus
gonna
with
do that?
Vladimir
Because then your
Putin, Xi
target has to be
Jinping,
like
Prime Minister Narendra
so far
Modi,
away.
among
Right? So
many,
most
many
people
other leaders,
that
but
I know
also a very
that
flashy
I've watched,
military
they play
parade.
the
I'm
three bar
curious
play
how you
where
think that's
the
being
red bar
received
comes down.
here in the States.
It
Does
closes
that
wherever
almost
it closes,
justify
right?
a
It has
show
to
of
close red
force,
too,
a
right?
show
It
of
can't just
strength
like,
here
Right.
in the States?
Well,
and
again, my
ideally what
point
you want the
is
red bar to do is
renaming the
in a three
Department
bar
of
play, you
Defense,
don't want the
offensive
red bar
U.S.
to
values and
exceed
the U.S.
the 50%
soil.
of the previous
The
green
Department
bar.
of War communicates the wrong message. We haven't
That
done
makes
it yet.
sense.
I hope we don't.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like the Fibonacci, right? Like you don't
Matching
want it to
widget
go
to
beyond
widget
50. You want it to stay in
with
the upper half.
China is not
And
going to
then the
win.
third bar
I mean,
comes.
China's now
It can go down, it
has
can
a
wick
broad
down,
appeal around the
but
world,
then you want
including
to
an
see it come back
economic
up.
appeal.
And then
To
as it
remind,
takes
we
out the
pulled
previous
out of
red
Africa.
bar,
We
you
have
can enter.
closed
And then once you enter,
defunded our
you just
soft
you
power,
put your stop
including
at
the USAID
the
and
low
parts
of the
of the
red
State
bar.
Department.
Yes.
Right now,
Reducing
what you
our
can
ability to
there's two
compete with
places you can
China
enter.
on
It's either you can choose the
using all
body,
elements of
which is the
national
aggressive
power,
entry,
which is
or you
what
can
this
choose the
Commission
wick.
on
The
National
wick is the conservative.
Right.
Defense Strategy recommended.
So that's
If we
how
just
people
become
play three
the
bar.
war machine,
So that's how you
we're going to invite
add
war, and that is
onto
exactly
your
not what
contracts.
we should be doing.
Probably
So
saw the
in a bit more
president's post
mechanical
on
way. So you're
Truth
not just
Social
adding
as
because
he
it's
was watching the
yeah, that's what
parade.
I'm doing, and
that
it's just
Heidi
like
mentioned.
when
This
it
was a
when I
post
get it,
aimed
I
at
get it.
President Xi
but
Jane Harmon,
Yeah.
he wrote
it
in
does
part,
so
"Please
much
give my
damage
warmest regards to
when I'm
Vladimir
wrong.
Putin
When,
and
you
Kim
know,
Jong-un
when I'm in the wrong
as you
place,
conspire
that
against
it's
the United States
irreversible.
of America." What's the
So let me ask you
conspiracy?
this: do you see the 200
Well, Putin
EMA
said Trump has a sense
right here,
of
the
humor.
white dot
I
dash?
thought it was a snide
Do you see how we
comment. I don't
tagged
know
it
what
3
was in
times
Trump's
before
head,
we went?
but I can't imagine.
Would you
Again,
sit down here
that
to
he
add
means
on,
what that
like after
says.
it tagged it
And
the
he's got to pick a
second
side.
time, would you
Pick
sit
the
down
side
here
of
with 2
American
contracts
values
and
and
add if it
American
came back
democracy,
down the third
which has
time?
been so valuable for almost 250 years, not
I
just
would
since
have.
World War
Yeah,
II.
I
I
like
would
that.
have
Let's
because
understand,
the
people want to
VWAP's
come
there,
here. They don't want to
the
line up and
200's there,
go to
the
There's
China
20's
support.
there.
or
You
Russia.
have so many
And
conflicts
Russia
there
has
that like
devastated its economy by this
price has to get through all
wrong-headed
those
war.
things if it's gonna reverse
Putin's
back
only
down.
alive in
Right.
that war
Plus, if you
because
get
he's
in
being
there,
bailed out
you
by
got
China
plenty of time to
and
get back to
North
break
Korea.
even because
They
there's
all
so much
have
holding
nukes.
it up,
That is
right?
very scary. But the
Right.
right
But the
answer
problem
is
is,
to promote
if you're
American
wrong,
values. That's how you promote American
Yeah.
it doesn't
power.
hold.
Well,
and
that's-
because there's so much stuff there,
Yeah.
it's going to rip your face off.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is.
gonna be fast.
Conversation
Yeah,
back
and it's
to
gonna be
Ukraine,
yeah,
if
because
we
it
can
could
go
all
back to
reverse.
You won't
with the
have
headlines
time
coming
to
from the
like
Elysee from
Yep.
Emmanuel Macron speaking
figure out
alongside
what went
Vladimir
wrong.
Zelensky
Yeah.
in
Because
Paris.
I mean, if you
Emmanuel
up is
Macron
there,
saying
the
Europeans
200's
are
there,
ready
the
to provide
20, the
security
9, everything's
guarantees
there.
to Kyiv.
If
In
that
your
breaks,
opinion, can the Europeans do
you're-
it
it's gone.
alone?
Well, they can do a lot of it. And
See, I
unlike
used to
It's
the
do
gonna be
that.
gone with your
Europe,
added contracts. So
we
you're
have
gonna
not
be you're gonna be
backed
for
down
contract
and have consistently taken
at
the right side of
20
this issue.
points, and
They
that's
can do a lot. They
Yep.
can
Or
provide
$1,600.
Yeah, or
They can't
wherever the
provide
stop
training.
ended
They can't
up.
provide
You're
all the
getting
intel
all
that
your
we can
stop
provide,
taken down.
but
It'll
they
be like
can,
that
Right,
green
so like-
candle
so-
but
right,
reverse.
so you look at price right now.
They're doing
You
it.
can add right
Use
now.
at least the
Yes.
interest
You
from
add right when it
these
broke the
Russian
bar,
Yep.
and then you
assets
move your
to
stop loss to the
fund,
base level.
military assets
Yep.
into
If you held
Ukraine.
through this whole candle, which I wouldn't have.
That it turns out
But-
the companies
No, but I'm just saying.
Yes.
No, I'm not
Ukraine
saying.
for months
Oh, you're
now,
just
I'm
the
not treating this
philosophy.
trade like the old trade. I'm
Right,
just
yeah.
saying if you're
that
treating. I'm just
those
saying if this
long-term
is
assets, the
this is what
attacks
trade
of
you're
long-range
in.
missiles
Right.
This is
cannot
how
be
you
used
can
to attack
mechanically
Russia.
enter.
Why
Right.
can't they?
Right?
Russia
You can
uses
enter here because
military
there's only
aircraft
27
to attack
seconds to go,
Ukraine.
but you
We're
wouldn't
not
enter when
talking
it
about
breaks the red
bombing
bar
kids
if
in,
there's
in,
like
in Russia,
2
which is
minutes
what
and
Russia's doing to
10
Ukraine.
seconds
We're
because that's
talking
just too
about
much time.
Yeah.
measures
Yep.
Right?
to
30
take
seconds,
out
10
the
seconds
offensive weapons that
towards
Russia
the end of the
uses
bar
against Ukraine.
in terms
So
of time.
I'm hoping
You
that
can add,
somehow
right? But if you're adding
Europe will
at
be
2
able to
minutes
help with this,
and the bar
that
just
President
started,
Trump will
you have
figure
to be
out
very careful.
that the right side of this, to be on, is to keep
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna add
commitments
the
that
3-bar
he
play
personally made.
to the
And meeting
Discord.
with
I'm gonna
Zelensky,
spend
I
some
gather,
time
later
working
this
on this.
week,
This is
and to
gonna be
tell
the
Zelensky,
thinking of
okay,
it this way is gonna be the
the,
solution for me, I think.
Lindsey Graham,
Because this will
Blumenthal
slow
bill
me
is
up
passing.
because I'll be looking
Congress
for
wrote it,
something
and
other
I can't
than
veto it.
the dancing
And,
doll.
Yeah,
You know?
This is how we're
You're
going
struggling
to
with it
stand
because
with
you're
you
looking at the candle and how
and prevail
you
for
have to
the
figure out how to make it more mechanical,
Jane, it's great to have you
more
weigh in
rule
here. Jane
based, so you
Hardy's
can
here, the
follow the
National
rules as
Defense
opposed to
Strategy
just
Commission.
seeing the
Thank you, as
giant
ever.
green
Thank you for joining us on
candle.
Bloomberg.
And start
Right
chasing
here.
it like a dog.
Got breaking
Yeah.
news coming
So
from
if
the
you
New
look
York
at here,
Times.
it's
A
like
couple of
here's
headlines
another
that just
3-bar
crossed the terminal.
potential ad.
That brings us
Yeah.
back to
This
President
closes
Trump
red.
and the
Like, this
mayor's
needs to
race
close
in New
red, right?
York.
Like,
Yes, they combined here with
we have
President
a
Trump
minute. Let's
mulling
see if it
rolls, we
closes
read,
red.
for Mayor Eric Adams and Curtis
Because
Sliwa
what you
to
can
drop
also
their
do
mayoral
is you can
bids
take all the
and do
contracts
something
off but
presumably for
one
the administration.
and see if you
We'll
get
be pursuing
another
this story as we
another
assemble our political
3-bar
panel coming up
play
next.
and
Rick
then
Davis
add
and
to
Gigi
it again
Shanzano on
for
the
a
way
third
right
time.
here, only on Bloomberg.
But you
So
said
so the problem with it,
or go
right?
ahead.
So if you added, let's just say you added 3 more contracts and you had 455, right? But it took out the red bar,
Right.
and you sold it at 460. So you sold 3 contracts for 5 points, right?
Yeah. Are you there, dude?
Contract was only gonna lose $100.
Are you there? You were fading in and out.
Right? So each contract was still added to your original stop loss, which
Hey, can you hear me?
means your stop loss for those new contracts were probably 3.
You're fading in and out, dude. You can't hear me. Can you hear me? You're fading in and out of the room. It's probably the internet here. Did you get back in?
Oh, I never left.
Oh, you were fading in and out.
Yeah, I think your internet died.
Yeah, I'm in the hotel. It's been
Yeah,
pretty
you're
good,
good.
but
I think I figured out what part of your problem is, right? So you add, let's just say you buy 1 contract. So you enter with 1. Let's just say you add another one. We won't do like 3.
right.
Because I think you usually buy 2, you add like 2.
Yeah.
You add like, anyways.
Yeah.
So let's just say you have a contract, you added a contract. Typically, I think when I see how you set your risk reward, your first contract is 1-1, right? Give or take.
Yeah, roughly.
The second contract you added on oftentimes has a massive negative R&R, right? Now the R&R doesn't really matter if your win rate is high enough.
Right.
But the problem is because you add the second contract and you're okay, so you're adding one. Sorry, you have one contract. You add 3. You take the 3 off at the original TP, right?
Yep.
But oftentimes when you add the extra 3, you're where you add and where the TP is oftentimes is less points than your 1-to-1 original contract. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
However, when you add those 3 contracts, your risk is still where your original risk was. So now the 3 contracts basically are upside down on their R&R, right? Like they're like,
It
let's
is
just say they're
121 on Wall
5-1.
Street. I'm Melissa Mateo.
Right.
Let's take you back to our latest
So,
headline. President
that's
Trump
why it hurts so
considering
much,
roles for
right?
New York
If
City
you don't
Mayor
either
Eric
take
Adams
profit,
and Curtis Sliwa in
you
the
get your face
administration,
Republican,
urging them to
you're
kind of
risking
drop their run for mayor. That's according to
$25.
the New York
risking
Times.
100,
Stay tuned right here to Balance of
Yeah.
Power.
Makes
We'll
sense.
bring you
Yeah,
more
well,
on
it's
that.
it's
So
like
Wall Street
that
right now,
first.
we're worries
That's
over
why I
inflation and
always
debt
set the
sales. Tremendous
first take
global
profit
sell-off in
at a
bonds this
conservative
week.
place,
Borrowers worldwide,
because
well, they
when I
suffered
add to
$80
that, it is
billion
fucking
in
devastating.
debt
Get out of there, even at
now
least,
that
you know what I'm
route's starting to
saying?
show some signs of
So that's
easing.
absolutely
That's after
right.
a weaker
But
than
that's
expected labor
like the
data.
risky
We'll get to
part
that
of the
in
whole
just a bit.
play
Right now,
is
we'll hit
adding
30
to
here.
that
Yield
first target.
4.88%. That's
You
down
know?
7 basis
Yeah,
points.
so the
Yield
way
on the
I
10-year
know that,
4.20%,
if I
down
add,
6 basis
yeah,
points, and the
is
2-year
to add to
3.60%,
the first
that's
target.
down 3 basis points.
Right.
The jobs
You
data,
add to
U.S.
get to the
job
first
openings, well,
target,
they
then
fell
you're
in
looking for
July to the
second add to
lowest
get
in
to
10
the
months.
second
Companies
target.
becoming more
Right, it's
I
like
don't
cautious,
two
add
parts.
selective
gets
with
to the
their
first target.
hiring.
I
It comes ahead
add
of
only
Friday's
if
non-farm
price gets to my
payrolls
first
report.
target.
And
Yes.
stocks right now,
Okay.
they
Used
are
to
mixed.
go
We
in
have
the
the Nasdaq
direction.
up more
Right.
than
And then
1%.
when I see
The
the
S&P
confirmation that
500
it's
up
going to
0.3%,
go
and
and it's
the
going to
Dow down
continue,
4
then I'll add a
percent.
second
For on-demand
contract, a
news
third
24
contract,
hours
get
a
to my
day,
second
subscribe to
target,
Bloomberg
because
News
by
now.
then I can
Wherever you
move my
get your
take
podcasts,
profit.
I'm Lisa
I can
Mateo.
move my
That's
stop
the
loss
Bloomberg
into take
Business
profit,
Flash.
even with the extra
Lisa
contracts,
Mateo,
and
many
still make money.
thanks. And we'll get back
Yep.
to Lisa a little bit later on in the hour.
So
Right?
really-
Now, the problem with that is
let
you're,
me
The Wednesday trade.
Price
Matthew in Washington
dictates
alongside Preeti. Good
contract
to be with us
at.
here on Balance of Power on Bloomberg TV
Right, it has
and
to.
radio.
All right.
You might have heard President Trump
And you're
ask about
adding
Jeffrey
because-
Epstein earlier. It's
'Cause I'm
not
a
new news.
maniac.
That is an
Price.
obsession
Yeah,
here
I'm a
in
fucking
Washington,
maniac.
D.C. The
That's
story
why I'm
could
at it.
advance
Well,
a bit
you're
over the
because
past
you're
24
trying to get
hours.
extra
With
dollars
a,
at the first
petition,
TP when your
Yep.
first
a
TP should
discharge
just
petition,
be to
as it's
see if
called,
the trading
filed by a
works out.
Democrat
Yes,
and
you're-
Republican. Ro Khanna,
that's
the
exactly
Democrat,
what I
Tom
do.
Massey, the Republican,
Right. Yep.
to force
I
a
So if
add-
you
ban
enter with
on
two,
releasing the Epstein
right?
files.
So
That
this
legislation,
is I
piece
think
of paper
what
was filed
the way I would
yesterday.
revise your strategy. Is 'cause I
Today,
think you
some
typically enter with two.
33,000
So if you
Epstein
enter with two,
files, most of them not new,
You don't add
were released, made public by
at
the
all
Oversight
until
Committee, Republican-controlled in the House,
one,
in
your
a news
TP gets
conference,
hit. Once your
which
TP
held a
gets
short
hit,
time
you
ago,
take out
late
one contract,
morning,
right? So
with
you
victims
secure one
of Jeffrey
contract.
Epstein.
You have one
The
runner.
aforementioned
You
Representative
move your
Tom
stop
Massey
loss
was
to
there.
wherever. You can move it to break even. You
The
can leave
Speaker
it
of
at
the
wherever.
House
Right? It doesn't
just
matter.
offered a fig leaf to my colleagues.
Then
They're
if
going to
the price
vote on a non-binding
continues in your
resolution
direction
today
and then
that does
creates the
absolutely
3-bar
nothing.
play,
They're allowing the DOJ to
pulls back,
curate all
and
of the
then
information that the
push,
DOJ is
pulls
giving
back
them.
on you,
If you've looked at the
and then
pages they've
reverses
released
the
so far,
colors.
they're
Then you
heavily
can add on the
redacted.
reverse
Some pages
color,
are
or the
entirely
color
redacted.
change. We'll call it
And
color change.
97% of this
And
is
then at that
already
point, when
in
you
the
add,
public
the
domain.
second ad's obviously going to be higher.
97%.
But in theory, if you add it at that point,
client list or something,
your
even
stop loss for
33,000
both
pages, they still
contracts
don't have it.
Yeah, and the victim saying that maybe
could be
they'll
moved into
put together
take
their own
profit
client list as some sort of
That was
solution to really reveal it.
altogether.
Really interesting development today.
And then
Based on
now
some of the
your
questions. To be fair,
your
Speaker
aim is
Johnson
your
did talk
second
about
TP.
this just yesterday. Here's what the Speaker of
Right.
the House had to say.
Where I think
I think we follow the
I
truth
think
where
that
it
would
leads.
work
I think
a lot
that's the
better.
responsibility of Congress. I think we owe that to the
Will you
victims.
make
And
money
if there
slower?
are further
Sure, because you're
prosecutions,
not
they
adding
need to be brought.
the 3
No stone
contracts
unturned. I mean, that's the commitment, and it's
Yeah.
to
it's
the first
bipartisan.
TP. But the problem
And
is you're
I'm
also
heartened
now
that,
not blowing up.
members of Congress.
Well,
are
that's
working
it.
every third
The
trade.
goal
And
should
will
be
say
to
this
keep
again,
the
I'll
PA
emphasize
as long
this
as
is full
possible.
participation
And
of
if
the
you're
administration
taking
and the White House.
risk in
The
every
president
quarter,
has the same
if
bizarre.
one, you
So long
get
as
the
we're protecting
pullback
innocent
Yeah.
where
victims.
you should be out at break even, but you can't
President
because
Trump
you've
was
already
asked
got
about
yourself
this
fuck
in
all
his news
leverage.
conference a bit earlier
On
in
the-
the
you
Oval
know,
Office.
that's
He
the
said,
problem.
quote, "It's really a
So-
Democrat hoax.
Yeah, so
I know that no matter what
so
you
you're
do,
really
it's going
taking
to
the
keep
first
going.
profit
A little bit different tone than we've heard from him in the past,
as
and that's where we start with our
confirmation,
political panel.
looking
Okay,
for
so
confirmation
this
to
is
the
so this is an
second.
example.
And Jeannie
Yeah.
Shanzano are with us.
Right.
Rick is
So let's
a
just say you
Republican
entered
strategist and partner
the
at
candle before
Stoneforth
the
Capital.
1300
Jeannie is
candle.
democracy
Yeah.
visiting fellow at Harvard Kennedy
Let's say you
School's
front run
Ash Center, our
the
Democratic
stochastics
analyst.
crossed. You entered on that.
Jeannie, this
you
is an
entered
interesting
somewhere on
moment.
that big green candle.
A
right?
Democrat
Yep.
hoax.
Your take
We've
profit
heard
was
those words from
VWAP,
President Trump
whatever.
before, but not in the past couple of weeks.
So you
as most
scaled one out
Republicans
at VWAP.
have at least given
Yep.
lip service to making these files public.
And
What do you
then-
make of his reaction?
Oh, I'm looking back
It's
at
astonishing
1300.
because
sorry,
just
right here.
moments
Yep.
earlier, I watched the press conference that you were all just talking
So
about
if
with
you-
these
if
victims.
Your
Some of
scale.
them had
So
been
you see where the red
trafficked,
candle came up and
abused,
went came
raped,
back down.
sexually
Let's just say
assaulted
you
at
took you
age
scaled off
14,
one there.
15,
Right?
16.
You're still in
Their
one. You're
entire
breaking.
lives
Once
and their
that
family
candle
lives
breaks,
devastated. They stood
right,
up there and told
closes,
these stories and
right?
asked the
Mhm.
Congress
The next
to
candle
release these redacted,
creates a red bar.
the redacted
right?
Epstein files.
Closes.
And one of them
The green
made a
bar
second
comes up. You
response
can
to a
add
question.
two more
Mr.
there.
President, if you
Now
think
you have
this is a
three,
hoax, come
but
down
because
here
you
and
add
meet
three,
me at
the average
Capitol. We are
probably
real people.
gets
And
dragged
he
up
has
to like
the
415-ish.
Just
Mhm.
moments
Right?
later,
That's your break even
to
for
say
all
this
three
is a
contracts.
Democrat hoax,
So
which
at
is
that point,
language
you
he's
literally
only
can move
started
your
using
stop
in
loss
the last
above your
few
break
months,
even for
because
all
when he
three
was out of
contracts, and now
office,
you literally
he
have a
was
risk-free
saying,
trade. You
release
literally
the
can
files.
walk away
Let's
and
see
either
how the swamp
be right
that
with
is
all three
Washington,
contracts,
D.C. and wealthy
or
men have
be
been
stumped out for
abusing people.
$100.
It's his MAGA base that has been
Yep.
calling for this, but once
But
he
that's
got
how you
into
would add this
office,
the,
he
the,
changed
the first
his
time.
tune. And I'm not sure
That-
he's going to be
That
able to get
is
out
the
of
way to
this.
do it.
And by the
That
way,
is
another really
because
astonishing
when you
part of
finally
this
get
is
the big
reports
runner,
that the
you can
White
just
House
add
has been
contracts
saying
to
that
it and
any
take them
member of
off on the way
GOP
up.
who votes for this
Right.
discharge
You know,
position,
you don't have to
they will
hold
see
them
it as a
all until the
hostile act
target.
against the president and the White House. That's astonishing language and
That's-
quite
yeah.
apart from anything
And
the
then
president said when he wasn't in
limit
office.
orders to sell all the way up to the second.
Rick,
That's
weigh
what
in
I'm
here,
saying,
and this
is
was
in
just
bet-
pointed out,
because we
this
hit
is
my target
becoming or
perfect,
emerging,
but it got a
what
little
dare I
iffy
say,
there
is already a very
on,
significant wedge between
you know,
certain
the
members of
candle
the
before
House
the three
GOP
red,
and, of
you know
course,
what
the
I'm
White
saying?
House. How sustainable
It got a little
is
weird
that
where you
wedge?
could have pulled off
Yeah.
most of them.
Yeah.
You know, look, I mean,
On
the
that
president has
candle,
won virtually
through
every
there.
battle it's taken.
Yeah, because you were actually in that trade when we were talking about that example, right?
Yes.
And
These
but
guys
we were
have
just in a
played
short,
like a house of
right?
cards.
And we were like, oh, we're gonna
Over
add
and
here,
over and over.
and
They
then
go out
that
and they
candle
say,
just
hey,
ripped
we're not
against
gonna
us,
vote for
right?
another
But like,
penny of
if
deficit.
you had
Boom,
added
vote for
on that
planes and new deficit.
first entry,
You know,
three
these are just
contracts, it
examples
would have
of,
gotten to your
the
first take
president getting on
profit,
the
right?
phone
And we were
and working
Yeah.
these guys.
out.
And
But
by
the
the way,
problem
that's
is,
not
like you said,
exclusive to
if
this
every
president. I
fourth
mean, this
trade is
happens
a
in virtually
loser,
every Congress. But
now
I
every
would say
fourth
the
trade we're losing
willingness
is
for
four
House
contracts as
Republicans
opposed
to
to
cave to the
one
president's
contract.
desires is
That makes
pretty
sense.
significant.
Yep.
There are
It
four
does.
votes
It
right
does.
now on the Republican
And
side,
that's where you
joining
hurt
what
your
we
account, right?
think
Because
would be
on the days it
212
works,
votes for the Democratic side,
you'll
to be
make
within 2 votes
decent
of
amount,
having
but
a
on the
discharge
days it hurts,
petition
you lose like
force
3 times.
the House of
That's
Representatives.
exactly what I'm
And
doing,
of
and
course,
then
that's
you
just
start
because you are
revenge
that's
trading.
just because you
to
are
actually
ourselves
get it
right
on
now.
the floor.
Yeah.
And
So, all
there
right, so I'm
has
gonna
been
I'm
some
gonna
evidence
write
that
this
these
out
threats
later. So we're
by
gonna
both the
the
speaker
first
and the
take
president
profit
have started to take its toll on
is
people
just to
who
make sure the
otherwise
trade is working
would
out
want
and you
to
got a
see
little
and have said,
buffer,
like
and then
Jeannie
when you
said, for
add, you
years,
go to
show
break
us all the
even,
records,
so that
you
no
know,
matter
give
what,
us
you
the
got a
list,
clean trade, and if it
and
takes off, you can
and they're
pull
now, I
contracts
think, getting
off on the
cold
way
feet.
up.
So this
That,
could
that
be
would
one
be
of
the
big,
basic way to explain it, right?
sort of promises to how to deal with the
Yeah.
Epstein case.
Like you,
But
like
it
unless
may
if you're
fall flat
unless
on
if
its
your
face here in
runner
just the next
is
couple of days.
profit,
Democrats are finding some
you
interesting
have no
ways
business
to
buying.
get to this. A report in
But
the
I mean, when I
Washington
mean in
Post,
profit,
Jeannie,
I mean like at that point, your
Ron
runner
Wyden,
would have been
Senator
up
Ron
like
Wyden, says the Secretary of the
600.
Treasury, Scott Bessent,
Right, because what you
is
want to do
withholding key
700,
information
is
from
while
Congress
it's
to
run
illuminate
while
the
it's running, you
finances
want to
taken
pull
off your
of
first.
Jeffrey
right. You want to
Epstein.
pull the extra
Directly,
contracts
he
off
said,
while it's running,
Bessent
not
is, quote,
add to it,
directly
because because it's gonna
responsible
pull
for the
back
decision
eventually.
to withhold the Epstein files
Right.
from Congress?
That's
Will
the
your party
adjustment I
find
need to
new
make,
ways
because,
outside
man,
of a discharge
I
petition?
love watching
to
that
bring these
candle
public?
take off and add to it while it's doing it.
I
and
think
that's
that
not, you
the
can't do that.
Democrats and I
Yeah.
think
Because-
Republicans, remember, this has
great
long
if
been
it's
a call
momentum.
from the
Yeah.
Republican side. It is the MAGA base that
But
has
it's
been
not like
calling
that
for this,
most
and
of the time.
Democrats have
There's-
certainly jumped on board with
Yeah,
that.
but it's
But
not
I think
because
regardless
you
of what
don't
happens
trade the
with this
first hour and a
petition,
half.
it will
You
go
usually
forward.
trade
And it's so fascinating,
Right.
Joe, that you
after
mentioned
everything
this
kind of
about the
settles.
Treasury
Yes.
Secretary,
But
because
the
one of the
problem
things
is
we heard
once
from from the victims
Once
and their
it's after
attorneys
lunchtime, like,
was the
after you
complicity
trade,
along
they're
the way,
available,
not just of
and it
Epstein
comes
and
in
Maxwell
sporadic.
in terms of
Right.
the
Right.
initial
So
perpetrators,
adding the
but how they have
big
been
green
victimized
chemicals
over and over again in this
is
process
dangerous because
by
there might not be
the
any fault.
people who run
Right.
our law enforcement
Now, if you
officials,
traded
attorneys
9:30
generals, and the like.
9:30 to
And
11
that
during that
includes some of
period,
the big
then
financial
there's
houses in
probably
our country that
fault,
they said
if that makes
had been, and
Yeah.
you know, we
Makes
don't have
total sense. All
very,
right.
very real. And
All
I
right, dude.
suspect it
I
is
gotta
pretty
clock out.
exciting how
And
they do put
yeah,
it
I
on that
gotta
list, and at some
go
point
out
that
to my
is
dad's.
released,
I'm gonna just
we
let
may
the
see
stream run
names
from here, but
among
I'm gonna
that,
make the
not
adjustments
just
tomorrow.
perpetrators, but
We're gonna
people who
work on it.
covered up in some of these
All right,
crimes.
brother. I appreciate it, man.
Certainly a critical and
All right.
heartbreaking issue.
All right,
Rick,
dude.
put a
All
little
right, I'll
bit
talk
of
to you
this into
later.
context for us when it comes to some of the other issues that are maybe plaguing Washington at the
Cool.
moment. Talk to us about
Thanks,
how
Lord Titty.
some of these kind of
All right, guys.
developments on these election files
I gotta
could
sign
maybe
off
potentially vote when it comes
for the
to
day. I'm
this
gonna leave the
decertification
stream
that
up
was
and
put
running.
to the
I
floor.
gotta go
Does
run.
that bleed
I gotta
into
go
some
do
of these
some
other
stuff
talks when it comes to
at my
shutdown
dad's.
fears, when it comes to other pieces
I'll
of
leave it running like I
legislation?
did yesterday,
Pretty, you
and
nailed it.
my
This
brain
is
is
a
about to
real
explode. I got all the
distraction to
notes from.
leadership in both
I
the
think
House
I
and
think
Senate.
Lord Titty
They
really just
have
helped
a
me
lot of work to
get my
done
ATM
in
strategy
order to
under
be able to
control.
fund the government by the 30th of September.
Because it's not
And
the
there
chart
seems to
that's
be
blowing the
a
account
real
up. It's the
public
way
process
I'm
that's taking
managing
place right
the
now to do that.
trade.
Normally, you have a four corners meeting. The
Hey,
leaders
Hazard
of
Matt, how you doing?
Republican and
All right,
Democratic Party
Spiznik,
of
we'll
both
see you
the Senate and
tomorrow.
House
All right,
get
guys, I'm
together
gonna
and
sign
start
off,
working
and
on, you know,
we're gonna what we
what
just
their
talked
numbers
about.
are
We're
gonna
gonna
look
put into
like,
practice
what is the
tomorrow,
process going to be,
and I'm
because
gonna
it
clip
takes
it out
time
too.
to
I'm
work
gonna
both
clip it
through
out
the
and put
Senate
it
and
in
the House to
Discord
get,
if anyone
if in
wants
this
to listen
case,
to it back.
a
All right, guys, you have a good
continuing
day. Take it
resolution
easy.
done